Good afternoon, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So, we're going to be talking about how things in the economy will never be the same. A lot of times you hear people say, well, things will be different, but it's never any different. It's always the same thing, just kind of changes to it. It just evolves over time. And I would agree with a lot of the circumstances that people would describe as far as the economy and how things never change. Like you have like certain expansions of debt creating economic bubbles and then seeing those bubbles crash. And some people will talk about this being something that happens over and over and over again. And although I would agree a lot with that stuff, we are now facing economic times that are never going to be the same as what they once were. To understand how it is that this economy has evolved to the condition that we are now in today is to understand that the fiat currency system that we are using is not something that existed to this level any time in history. Like there has been fiat currency in the past. China has had many of them. There's examples of them all over the globe from history, and none of them ever last this test of time. They always fail. But to understand the situation that we face here with the United States in the issuance of U.S. Treasuries, this is a condition unlike anything that has ever been experienced in the past, and it has resulted in an inequality that has taken place within the United States that cannot be solved. So to believe that it's something of the same or that it's familiar from the past. It's not. There's nothing that is the same as what it once was, considering that the issuance of U.S. Treasuries has pushed the envelope of inequality to the absolute extremes. Like, if you are going to go down this road, you are going to be causing some serious pain and suffering to a lot of people out there. But to understand why that is occurring makes it very difficult for a lot of people to internalize, because even as I describe the credible threat theories or describe monetary policy, describe a lot of stuff that is what I see evident in within the documents of the Federal Reserve, it turns into a very obscure language that most people have a difficult time hearing or understanding. And this is something that I have grown to understand just even in the last few days as I got back from an economic conference or a real estate conference. And I heard somebody say, hey, if you are speaking Spanish to somebody who doesn't understand Spanish and you expect them to understand what you are saying, who is the crazy one? And now I realize, man, that was me. I'm the crazy one who is trying to deliver information, beating my head against the wall, not knowing why it is that people don't understand what it is that I am saying. And I then realize, man, it's like I'm speaking a foreign language out there. And so as I start to break this information down and I start to realize what it is that we have for an economic condition that we face here in the United States that is not anything like we have had from the past, it then gives me like a different view on how it is that I'm supposed to share this information. What is it that I'm supposed to deliver to you guys so that you can internalize it for yourself? So now I think about it from the economic theories, right? The four economic forces that I have tried to share here on this channel over and over again, right? Cantillon effect, by far. Cantillon essay on economic theory. I read from this thing like every single day, trying to recognize some of the economic forces that he was describing that we are seeing now today. When I look through this book and I think about the Cantillon essay and the expansion of money coming into the system, driving out the domestic manufacturers, bringing in ever increasing amounts of foreign production and separating the rich from the poor, it just makes it so clear to me. It makes so much sense. To other people, they immediately hear it and then start injecting, well, what about political? What about taxes? What about this? What about that? And I'm thinking, man, every time that happens, I try to put myself in a defense of the Cantillon essay and thinking, man, you're clouding the economic forces with this political environment, right? And at that point, I realized, man, it really has to come down to your personal view of it. Like, how is it that you are going to take this information and then use it? Most people, when I speak, they take the information, mix it up with some political or conspiracy theories, and then bring it back saying, well, what do you think about this? And I'm thinking, man, from your perspective and your belief, I can understand why it is that you would have this information. But from my stance and where I'm going, I don't know how that would be helpful. Like, I don't know where it is that I can use that in, like, that, like, finding the evidence, like, this is where they're doing it, like, aha, right there. And I'm thinking, but is that going to change anything about like you discovered how it is that they manipulate a system or whatever, and you don't like it, and you wish it wasn't that way, and you want to show people how it is that they are manipulating the system, and then ask me, like, what is it that we need to do about it? And I'm thinking, I don't know, man, because I don't know what it is that you're going to do about that particular situation, considering you found the evidence of it. Now, I can then take the information and realize what it is that I need to do from my own personal standpoint, but that might be different from what it is that you're going to do. Like, you guys get where I'm coming from on this? Looking at it from the understanding of the economic forces that are playing out then gives you a much different view. You're not looking for reasons for it. You already got the reason. It's the underlying economic force. What you are then looking at as far as the political environment and the conditions are the symptoms of that situation. And this is really where the understanding of the four economic forces play out. So again, I know it's like speaking another language, but once you have internalized the Cantillon effect, once you have internalized Gresham's law, you internalize the bullwhip effect, you internalize Triffin's dilemma, and you put these four economic theories to work, and you think about some of the articles that you're reading and some of the descriptions of the other economists describing what's happening within our current situation, you start recognizing these underlying economic forces. You're like, man, he's talking about Triffin's dilemma. He's talking about, Gresham's law, or the reasons that some of the issues that we are facing have these underlying economic forces that are playing out that a lot of people just don't even recognize, right? So again, like when I think about it from this personal view that, man, every single person out there really has to understand what it is that these economic forces are doing to them, like personally. How is it that they are supposed to condition their situation to deal with the fact that we have these underlying economic forces playing out? That right there is probably the most difficult part. Like, I'm 7 minutes into this and I probably confused a lot of people already with it. But to understand how it is that these things are playing out is the goal to the whole mechanism. Like, once you see it, now your condition of life ends up being very like the choices that you make are very like easily intuitive, decide, like you just intuitively know the right way to go, right? Because you just recognize what it is that's happening. So when I think about that and I think about what it is that this information can share out there for the people, I have to tell them, man, things are never going to be the same again. They're not. There's just no way they can be. We've never had a condition in which that the expansion of fiat currency has led to this level of inequality, to encompassment around the world. Like, everything that we have going on right now within the economy has never existed on this level before. To think that it's the same is very inaccurate, right? This is a whole new time. Now, ever evolving. And this is the part where I think a lot of times it gets so confusing for the average everyday person, is that right about the time they start to understand a particular situation, it evolves into something different, and they realize that it had evolved, and they don't know what this evolution means or why it's evolving. So here they had like maybe this understanding of the Federal Reserve and how the Federal Reserve would lower interest rates, and then people would go out there and work, and that extra work that was happening would create inflationary pressures. And this seems very logical to a lot of people out there. Like, why wouldn't that be the case? So again, like as I try to share the information, it starts turning into this foreign language. But the language that these people are speaking is something of an old, archaic way of looking at it. There is a whole new way. Highlight button. Okay, thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. Let me go and find it. Create highlight. Boom. Okay. Thank you very much, all-nighter, for that. Okay, so I already forgot where I was at, man. I wanted to reach the highlight and I forgot where I was going with this whole thing. Okay, so understanding like the Federal Reserve and how it was that they had conditioned the economy to believe what it is that's happening with interest rates. This has evolved, right? But most people don't realize it. And now if you are hearing this for the first time and you're thinking, man, you're telling me that when the Fed lowers rates, it doesn't necessarily create the inflationary scenario. And that's exactly what I am trying to say. But now, if you listen to 99% of the economists out there, they're going to tell you something quite different from it. Now the language really starts to get confusing. And this is the part where I've been trying over this channel to beat my head against the wall to try and share what it is that would give you a different view. but it's literally a different language that has to be spoken. And this is the part that starts to break down. And now, right? Now that I recognize it, I know what it is that I have to do, right? I have to share the information in a way that then makes it recognizable or easy to understand in a language that you would recognize and understand. A lot of people who have been following me on this channel for any length of time, they like even Brody, who is religiously on this channel. Thank you, Brody, man. I really appreciate all the hard work you and All Nighter do for this channel and the moderations and keeping the chats clean. Brody admitted to me, he says, dude, it took me almost a year of listening to you regularly to finally internalize the credible threat theory to the point that I think I get it the way you do. And I'm thinking, a year? Holy crap, man. Like, I shared the credible threat theory over and over and over again. And in my opinion, every video that I have ever done on the credible threat theory is all the information that you could ever possibly need in order to understand the credible threat theory. Brody has watched every one of those, and he told me it took a year to get it. And I'm like, wow. Like, that was a shocker to me. It really was. Like, I didn't realize that the amount of research that I have done into this and now internalize the information, it's become such second nature to me that I literally forget that other people have never heard it before. And like, I'm literally babbling some weird spoken language out there that nobody has ever heard, or they can, they can't speak it. And then I'm here like, don't you get it? Don't you get it? Why don't you get this? And then like people are like, dude, you're crazy. And I'm like, I'm not crazy, but I am crazy if I would expect you guys to understand that stuff from the level that I have, considering that it's like a whole other language being spoken. So it's never going to be the same again. I know it's not, because the monetary policy that they are delivering to the economy right now is very unique. It's literally the deployment of words. And that part is so hard to describe because already the language is confusing. And then on top of it, they are using words to manipulate the markets. Talk about adding more confusion on top of confusion. It's just like no doubt about it. So as I try to, again, share this information, I have to realize now it's going to have to come out with a piece by piece. And every single person is going to have to then realize what that piece means to them, the meaning that they have given it. Because the position that they have taken and the understanding of that piece is going to be different for you, and it's going to be different for me. I listened to some guy over the weekend says, when the Federal Reserve, I knew the Federal Reserve was going to be lowering interest rates, and then, that it would be better for the mortgages. And I'm thinking, that doesn't happen that way, though. Like, literally, I heard it this weekend, and I'm like, right? That's the old school way of looking at it, and it's not necessarily inaccurate, but if you think about what it is that's happened with mortgages every single time the Fed has cut rates, it went the opposite way. It went completely different. It's because the deployment of information ahead of time is what's manipulating the markets, and it's very difficult to see that. And now, as I even described that little bit right there, again, it starts to people are like, what in the world is he talking about, right? Let me check this out. We have Deja afternoon, everybody, each and every one of you. All right. I listened to UE for over a year before I internalized how going into luxuries versus assets was what determines who will be rich or poor, right? And see, that's again, like once you see the Cantillon effect, it totally makes sense. You're like, oh, wow, that's it. It's that literally the move into luxuries that starts the deterioration into the inequality and eventually will cause the collapse. It's the lapse into luxury, an eventual decline. It's going to go down that road. It's not me who's saying it. It was Cantillon who was describing it. And it makes a lot of sense once you have seen it. Like, think about it from your own personal view. If you had a good job, right? You go and you get a job, you work that job for a couple of years, and things are kicking ass, right? And you got this really good raise from this kicking ass job that you had. You take that raise, you go out there, you bought a new car, you bought a house, you bought all this really great stuff for your life because you had this really good job that was, had all this new money coming in that you were just like, yes, this is awesome. Finally, I get to elevate my life into a condition in which that I was really happy with. But then something happened with your life. And then you lost that flow of money. Like you had to take, you lost some hours, you lost the job, you had to go take a job that has less wage to it. And when that happens, all of a sudden you can't make your payments anymore. You're falling into the abyss, that deterioration. Had you not moved into the luxuries to begin with, then you may have been able to cut back on your on how much wages that you are getting in order to maintain your life. But most people, they elevate their standard of living to meet that of what it is that they are earning, and at that point they are very well compromised. That plays out whether or not you're an individual, a company, a country. It doesn't matter. It all goes down the same way. The moment that the new money turns off, pain and misery follow. Right? But if you condition your life to be prepared for that, like I just won't elevate my standard of living, I will secure a rate of interest beyond that of my occupation, most likely you will become a property owner because of that. In fact, it's the idea of securing a rate of interest beyond that of your occupation that then leads you into property ownership. It's like you don't have any other choice. Like if you're going to do that, that's where you're going to end up going, you know? All right. Sometimes I think you understand more than most all-nighter. All-nighter understands. You got to understand what all-nighter is up to right now. He has networked so broad. He has reached out there and talked to so many people. He has internalized so much information, so many communications out there that it would be very difficult for you to put anything past all-nighter that he hasn't already heard or know. I mean, I'm serious about that. Unemployment is at historic levels. Historic low. All right. All right. You want to know what sets me off my track? When my wife comes in with some frivolous problem that she feels like I need to solve. How many new couches does a woman need? All right. I don't know where we're going with that, but anyway, we'll move on here. All right. All Nighter says years of learning is one reason many people are not well off and just survive. Did you know couches start at around $1,000 each nowadays? Okay, like applied sitting in learning spot. What's happening, Wayne? All I do is listen and comprehend with a side of explaining. $1,000 couch is a bargain. Mine is 3 times that. Isn't even a mid-tier couch brand. Thanks, Simon. Yeah, you bet, all nighter. You know, I mean, it's funny because we all have our strengths and weaknesses. This is something that I learned from Pace, right? Is that you have to know what your strengths are and you have to know what your weaknesses are. And by understanding what your strengths are and knowing what they are, and then also knowing where your weakness is. If you understand or know where your weakness is, now you can team up with people who then have the strength in which that is of your weakness. And when you team up together, it becomes a symbiotic kind of thing going on. Like even I myself, I'm trying to formulate the team that I would need. Like I am not good at design. Like I am really good at putting things together. Like if somebody says, hey man, I need this project built this way, this is what I want it to look like. I'm like, yeah man, hand me the tools, hand me the material, let's get this thing done. I know how to put things together, right? But what I have a hard time doing is looking at something and going, what does this need in order to like pop, right? What is this going to finally like do that thing, right? I don't have that kind of vision. I really don't. Like, I mean, I look at something and I kind of like imagine what the color might look like or something, but that's about as far as I can get. If you gave me the idea of what it is that you wanted here and said, this is the stuff, here's the pictures, make it look like that, I'd be like, all right, man, give me the tools. Let's do this. So I know that I'm in that position that I'm going to need somebody who knows how to create and imagine or have this creative imagination. I knew right away who to go to, right? Now, I know a few people who have creative imaginations. I know quite a few people, like people who are really good at it. But I only know a couple that I think I could communicate with on a way that we could actually work together with. Like, I think these people would do a great job with their imagination, with their creativity, but the way that we kind of interact together, I think something else would be better. Like, we would be better if we were out hanging out and playing games or doing something of that nature. I think our energy would be much funner that way because together, I don't know if this is going to work. This other person, like we jive really good together and I would just let the creativity kind of happen and we would just flow really well and I think it would just work out well. So that's me now, right? Like I'm doing that kind of thing. It's just like, who would I want for my team for the weaknesses that I have? I know I have this weakness. I'm not good at it. right? But I know other people who are good at it. Can I get them motivated on be on the same page as me as what we want for an outcome of a project that we put together? You know, when I go and talk to them, are they excited? Are they defensive? This is easy, man. I don't. This isn't that hard. It's just communications, right? All right, there's the dice. Yeah, people have been complaining because I haven't had the dice up. I get my why are we talking about couches? I get my couches off of Facebook Market for free. I have 3 young kids. I don't care what it comes pre-stained. I am in such agreement. Like I have kids too, and my youngest, he's 11. But that's okay. Teenagers and stuff, they're hard on furniture. They're hard on everything. I get it. I was too. My parents complained about it all the time. We can never have nice stuff in
Hey,
here.
FedEx just called. They're down at the bottom of the yard waiting for coming.
So anyway, I had, my parents did the same thing. They said this, we can never have nice stuff. Be careful, all that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to put my kids through that. If they want nice stuff, they can earn it and they can have nice stuff. They trash my things. I'm not going to bring it in. I get it. I try to make them and I just get frustrated and all that. So it's cool, right? Like, I understand. I was not the easiest person on things in my life. I was kind of hard on things and I didn't like necessarily take care of the stuff in my life the way I should have. When I recognize that to be the case, when I do get something, I take very good care of it. Like, I'm not buying this just so I can just trash it or whatever. So I'm very deliberate on the items that I do buy. I'm not into material possessions because of that. Like, I don't like maintaining things. I like not having stuff. It's weird, right? Like I'm not a material possession kind of person. I enjoy toys, but I only enjoy them for the moment that I have them. I don't like having this feeling like, oh, I have that toy. It's in my possession now. I'm really happy with that. Like I'm like, that's kind of cool. If I could just use it for the weekend, that would be just as good for me. So everybody has their different like wants and needs and what it is that they desire in their life. I know people who really enjoy their collections. Like they really enjoy the collections that they have. I know a guy who collects cars. He really enjoys his cars. He loves tinkering with them. He loves playing with them. He loves driving them. He loves everything about his cars. And I'm thinking 11 cars sounds like a nightmare. It sounds horrible. Like I would not want 11 cars. I like my Suburban. That's the only car I want. I have another backup car. Cool. I'm good, man. I don't need 11 cars. Right? But that's everybody's difference, right? I enjoy experiences. When I go out and I join an experience, I want it to be a good experience. I want the food to be good. I want the music to be good. I want the view to be good. I mean, these are important to me. I want that environment to be good. I don't know how many people care about that. I do. Like, that's what I want. And so everybody has these wants and needs that are going to be different. And I think it's kind of comical when I find people out there going, you wouldn't want that? And I'm like, material possession? Not really. I mean, if it's an asset that pays, yeah, I probably want that then, and then I would be very much more excited about it. But, assets that fall in value over time that you got to maintain and deal with and all that, I was like, God, that sounds good. Does that sound like a good idea? Maintain an asset that depreciates. It's just like, no, that doesn't sound fun at all. But again, everybody's going to be different in that. So I'm just babbling on now. Let's get some questions going. All right, that was I've had enough of this place. Throw off the walkie-talkie. My truck is the same. Came pre-dented and stained cheap, And that's what it is. Like, I think about it all the time, if you want to be rich, just drive a POS beater. It's easy. Like, I'm able to acquire assets and buy, save money every single month, pay my bills on time and stuff. But if I had a brand new truck to drive around with the insurance and the maintenance and the, payments or whatever that's going on with it, I'm thinking, man, how much could I actually save? Like, could I position myself to actually be able to acquire a piece of rental property if I had this payment? Like, bank's going to look at your debt to income ratio and that's going to deteriorate it. My debt to income ratio is really low, right? I mean, considering, with the YouTube channel and the side hustles and the other thing, my wife working, and my payments, they're really low, but I save a lot of money. So like, many of you know, just a few years ago, I was flat ass broke. Like I didn't have any money because of all the money that I had to use for the down payment of the house. It like wiped me out. $42,000 I had to come up for the down payment on the house because of the issues and the foreclosures and the problems that I had in the past. They required this ever increasing amounts of debt or down payment in order to acquire a debt. It was just like, ugh. What a frustration. But when I signed the deal on that house, I was flat ass broke. The only thing I had was a little bit of Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot. It was maybe $15,000, $16,000 worth of Bitcoin. And I had some silver, but it wasn't that much, maybe $10,000 in silver. And I don't even think it was that much that I had at the time. I would have to cash out those two assets in order to have any cash at all. I was completely out of cash whatsoever, and I had that little bit of liquidable assets. Today, oh man, like the liquidable assets that I have accumulated, including the stocks and all the other stuff. I mean, I'm up over $100,000 now. Holy moly. In just a few years. Like I was able to do that. People say, man, what are you doing, man? You're just sitting around, you're spinning your wheels, you're going idle. I'm like, I'm not, right? I'm trying to accumulate the reserves in an area that is incredibly expensive to try and be in a real estate investor in. You know how hard of a position to try and be in order to accumulate that? Like to feel like that you have the ability to have the reserves so that you can maintain your life while at the same time trying to figure out how it is that you're going to invest in one of the most expensive places in the entire nation. It takes a little bit of time to build up that stability. But holy moly, I'm on my path, right? Like I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the accomplishment, although it's not necessarily recognizable out there. That's okay. I don't need it. I don't need the recognition from anybody. I just have to know that I'm doing it, right? Everybody says, man, what is it that you're doing? And I'm thinking, man, you have no clue. You can't see it, but I'm feeling really good about this. And I'm feeling excited. And I see the team coming together, and I see the energy seemingly to push me in that direction. I'm thinking, wow, starting to feel a lot like the time that I bought the house when I didn't even try to buy the house. Like I didn't even want to buy the house that I'm living in. I was trying to find some place to rent because I thought the house prices were going to come down when the interest rates shot up. I felt forced into it. I told the story down there in Vegas over the weekend. And when I got that house, I got it at 3 1/8% interest, and it did nothing but go up in price ever since. Completely opposite of what it is that I thought was going to happen. I had to realize, man, I have to view things much differently. If you have something in your head that you really want and you are going for it, I guarantee you the path to get there will not be the one that you think it's going to be. It's not. There's going to be issues and changes and perspective realizations. It's going to not be what it is that you thought it was. And if you force it, this is the problem that I face right here. This is the biggest problem that I face with it. If you force it to be a particular way, like you have this vision, you got this tunnel vision of what you want, and anything that comes in that forces the deviation from that tunnel vision on your path, you then fight against it. And most people say, don't let the distractions come in. Don't let it. It's just like, absolutely right. But you also have to understand that your vision to get to the path or to get to where that goal is may not be on the path that you are insisting it be. Sometimes you have to get there from a different path, and the universe, God, whatever it is out there is saying, dude, you're not doing it right. Bang. Here, you're on this path right here if you want to get there, but the way you're going about it is going to be very frustrating. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, and you're probably not going to be very pleased by the time you get there. And this is the part that I know has been true for me the entire time. There is literally nothing that I have in my life that, like the YouTube channel, the buying of the house, the accumulating of assets, all this stuff, none of it has gone down the way that I was insisting that it happen. None of it. Like literally none of it. So I had to finally just let it go. Right? Let it go. It's not going to go down the way I want it to. I just realized that. But if I want it to go down, if I want it to happen, I have to have it in my head. I have to be in the energy of it. That's it. Those two things. Vision it. I see it. I know what it is. And now I have to be in the energy of it, because the path to get there will not be the one that I am anticipating it going to be. That is my ego. My ego is saying it has to look like this. If it deviates from that, you're going to get mad and frustrated. Let go of the ego. The ego has to go away. It can't be there. Right? Not in that fashion. Like, it's okay to have a little bit of ego, right? To have, what is it that, you know, a healthy amount of narcissism, right? That confidence that's within it. Like, there's that. That needs to be there. But the ego says, nah, if it deviates, if it changes anything about this, then that's wrong. That part right there, that was my major problem. I had to let go of my ego in order to get the things that I wanted in my life. That house came into my possession in a way that I was not anticipating. Not the way I thought. Not at all. Not like if I was to write down a story of how it is that I was going to be moving into a house, getting my family into a house, being in the neighborhood that I wanted to be in, having a big front yard, having a spot for chickens in the backyard, having all this stuff that I had envisioned, if I had wrote down on a piece of paper exactly the steps that I was going to take to get there, it wouldn't have happened because it didn't go down like that at all. Right? But I did realize something during all of it that I was doing. And that is that I was putting myself in the energy of acquiring what it would be in my life. Right? Cut back on my expenses and in a major way. I got out of debt. I got everybody out of debt. I made sure there was no debt anywhere. Anybody? Any hidden debt? No? All right. As long as we're out of debt, we're good. I'm going to start savings. But the moment that debt comes up, I'm going to pay it off. And this is my attitude towards it. And guess what? I started accumulating a bit of savings. Enough savings that now I can go to a mortgage lender. He says, dude, you're good. Go get a house, yo. Right? And so now these things I didn't really anticipate having in my life because a YouTube channel took off. I didn't know, like, I knew you can make money at YouTube. I didn't know I could make money at YouTube. But yet that's exactly what happened. Well, I was putting out time and effort and energy into something that I didn't even think was going to do it for me. But yet that's exactly what happened. So now I come to the realization, man, I'm on a path. There is the universe that is taking care of business, whether you want to call it universal powers or God or whatever. There's something that grabs a hold of you and sends you forward. If you are in that energy, if you are moving forward with it, you're going to recognize it. It's going to happen at some point in your life. Right? And this is where I finally come to the understanding, man, I can't deny that. Like, if I'm going through a valley at the time where it feels like it's frustrating and it feels like it's not working out right, I have to remember, man, that that's part of the journey. That you have to go through dips in life in order to get the understanding, right? To know, like, man, it feels punishing. Why am I feeling punished right now? Am I being punished or am I learning a lesson? Right? Because that's exactly what it is. There's lessons being learned from that. If everything was just hunky-dory all the time, then what kind of lessons would you learn? You would learn that everything is just awesome and you can just do whatever the hell you want and never have any consequences from it. Is that reality? Absolutely not. So when you are facing a painful experience, you have to think, man, I am learning a lesson here. What is it? Because once I'm done with this lesson, it's going to be that much better for me afterwards. I recognize this within myself. Like, even the YouTube ad revenue getting cut, it's like, man, what am I doing? What do I have to do to try and get the ad revenue back up? And I was just like, just let it go, bro. Right? Just let it go and make your good videos, man. Make videos that you think other people would want to watch. That's it. Don't worry about the money, right? Because the more you worry about that, the harder it's going to be for you. Man, I'm really going off this morning. Okay, what time is it? I have a few more minutes here. All right, basically the corrupted government. Dang ego wanting what my parents had. Yeah. Well, you have to think it's not a problem of wanting what your parents have. The problem that you may face is wanting what your parents have in the path that they used to get there. That might be a problem because that path doesn't exist anymore. You know, like, it's not feasible. But there is a path out there to get to where it is that you want. It's just, you got to understand that the ego is not going to, if your ego says, no, it has to be just like what my parents did, then you're probably going to end up finding it very frustrating because that isn't the path to get there. It doesn't work like that anymore. Gee whiz, guys, I am like, all right. I never wanted my parents' stress. I got it. Well, here's something that's interesting about that, Kirk, is that is that you inherit an energy, like there's ancestral energy inherited. So like literally energy gets passed on to the next generation. If your parents were like stress and anxiety ridden, then you might be stress and anxiety ridden. And that might have been not their fault, but literally came down from their grandparents or the great great grandparents, and it could have been just like this literally handed off to every single generation until it has now gotten in you. And this literally can happen. I mean, I've actually seen it within other, like after I heard about this, I started looking at other families to see if I could recognize this actually occurring. And it's very true. Like you find like a lot of families kind of have the same attitude about things. You know, it's generally because this energy was passed on from generation to generation and put into them. So inheriting your parents' stress, you have to think that might even not have been your parents doing it. It might have been the great, 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 great grandparents who had done it. Yeah. All right. Everything in life is a paradox and a balance between opposing forces. You mean basically ancestors' attitudes? Well, I don't know if it's necessarily the attitude as much as the internal belief system and the energy that's based within it, like what it is that you truly believe in the core. And that part right there, I don't like you may have a good or bad attitude about it, but that may not be any different, right? What it is that you truly believe in and how you feel about it. So, I mean, you can have a good attitude about your stress, I guess, I mean, or you can have a bad attitude about it. I don't know, like, exactly how you're supposed to internalize that, but I guess what I'm assuming is that the stress and the feelings that you have within it, the meaning that you give that is your attitude, and that can change. Uh, Family curses and family blessings. Yeah. Let me back it up here. Ego is good to get you established, but it needs to be tamed or it will stress and frustrate you. I just, I agree. Like, I found more problems from my ego than any kind of, like there's sometimes when you just know that you're doing it right, but I don't know if that's necessarily an ego as much as it is a confidence, right? And being confident in something as opposed to having an ego about it, I think like there might be a fine line in some of that stuff, but I think really you deep down inside know when it's confidence and when it's ego, right? Basically Americans screwed at this point, but yes, be positive, be optimistic. Well, I think a lot of them are screwed in the sense of the way that they want to traditionally handle themselves from the past, right? But knowing that what it is that you have for opportunities going into the future, I just don't feel that Americans are screwed. I think a lot of them will be screwed just simply because they don't know to do something about it, and they're hoping and waiting and seeing that there's going to be a great day out there for them that just like magically appears. I don't know how that works, but I think a lot of people feel that way, especially those who don't know what to do. Elderly folks who are like, man, I just show up to work every day and then hope that I'll have some sort of retirement out of it, but they don't actually have a plan. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I see a lot of people suffering the consequences of like formulating plans like that because it's not really a plan. When you actually take effort and move forward with the idea of it, it's like, man, I need to do something about this and I need to understand it because there's so much stuff out there that I just don't understand. Like I was talking to a guy earlier who says, man, I need to hurry up and sell my house so I can buy another one up here. And I'm like, well, how much equity do you have in the house? And he was just like, well, I own it outright. And I'm like, well, why don't you just refinance it? Right, rent it out, make the renter pay the refinancing of it, take the money, and then use it to buy several other rental properties and just, go that route instead of buying another house. And he looked at me and he was just like, well, I don't know if I want rental properties. And I was just like, I don't care what you want, man. I totally understand that. But you're asking me right now. It's just like, or didn't ask me. He didn't ask me shit. Right. But he was telling me what the situation that he's in. I'm like, dude, I just got back from a real estate convention. They would love for you to share that story with them and then ask for their advice because they're going to tell you how you could load up on rental properties right now and be doing quite well considering the asset that you have. Why don't you take advantage of it? And he was just like, it just spun his head. He was like, oh, it's too much. And I'm like, I get it. Because if you don't know and all of a sudden it's just overwhelming you, and you got these huge life decisions that you can make, and it could totally change the course of that you're on. It's just like, oh, it's too much, right? That happens. I mean, I totally get it. Like, I mean, like just a little bit. I'm like, dude, why don't you just think about that? Like, you could totally like rent that house out, have them make the payments on it, and you'll have all that cash. You could go out there and be an investor with it. And he was just like, wow, what? You know, and I'm like, oh man, all right. Everybody has these problems. Everybody does, you know? I just really enjoy being in debt if you're in the right debt, you know? Hope you're all having an amazing day. Well, thank you. I hope you guys are too. What time is it? Alrighty, guys. I have like maybe 5 minutes left here, and then we're going to call it quits. See how fast 45 minutes go? Boom, just like that. Thought patterns as passed on form generations to generation. Here we go. Thought patterns, habits, beliefs, hormonal responses, and ethics are passed down. Most of them are very good, needed, and beneficial. All right. See, this is how survival happens. This is why the families, like if the family formation didn't have those good things being handed down, then it probably wouldn't work. It would fall apart, and then it wouldn't continue onward, right? Like it would end with those people, because unless they formed a family and then put that energy into the next family, into the next generation, it would just die with them. So I would agree that it's almost ancestral to the point that you could continue on with that lineage so long as you continue to carry the right attitude, right? But if you start having a bad attitude or the wrong attitude, it'll dissipate and fall apart. Over time, like the generations will find it very frustrating and wouldn't be able to form the family formations, right? And then it would just cease to exist. It's the animal kingdom as well. Epigenetics is very interesting study. I like to keep my money in stocks. I can keep it all on my phone, in my pocket, and liquidated at the drop of a hat and transferred into my checking account. Yeah, Jeff, like that's the capitalist. There's two people who will live independently of the state: property owners and capitalist. Now, the property owner is the one who makes the decision on everything. It doesn't matter what it is, the politics, the styles, like everything that happens out there, it all comes down to the wants and needs and desires of the property owners. The capitalist can invest into that system and live independently, but they are at the like whatever it is that the property owners desire, what their fashions are, what it is that exists out there for you to invest into. They're the ones making the decision on that. So there's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with anything out there, deciding whatever it is that you choose your path to be on. But that there is a very real understanding that capitalists do live independently of the state, similar to that of the property owners, but you don't get to make the decisions on what it's going to look like, what society will be, what the desires will be, any of that stuff. Like you can invest into particular areas of it, but the property owners are the ones who are going to make that existence, you know. All right, the problem with a garage is it fills up with taking things to the dump, very expensive. Yeah, boy. You know, I was the person, like, free was a very dangerous word around me for the longest time. Like, yeah, I'll take it. Even if I didn't need it for anything, I'm like, well, you never know, you know? So I would just hoard onto stuff like you wouldn't believe. I had so many building supplies at one point. Like, I had doors and windows and granite countertops and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, when I finally, like, left that house, I opened up the basement and I said, just make an offer and you can take whatever you want out of there. And people loaded up on so much stuff, but I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, I didn't pay for any of it. Like literally, I didn't pay for any of this stuff. I just accumulated it over time. So every dollar, like when people were offering me ridiculously low price on stuff, I'm thinking it's just all cash coming in I don't care. They're hauling it off and I'm getting money. Woohoo! Right? And that was best for me. And I finally cleared out all my stuff. All right, I am weighed at our dump. Well, I think that charge 21 a ton. All right, I don't have the time to sell stuff. Yeah, I hear you. My buddy, he was so good at it. He would churn and burn on so many products. He would find stuff on the internet for sale. offer ridiculously low prices and immediately put it right back out there and make $100. And I seen him do it, like flip stuff within a day. I saw him buy and flip a car in one day. He picked it up, was cleaning it, like washing it all up, getting it ready to put out there for sale again. And one of his buddies was driving by. I was like, "Oh, Anthony, you got what'd you get that for? A piece of junk?" And he was like, "You want to buy it? How much? $800." Yeah, maybe I need it. Just run. Yeah, boom. There you go. Boom, gone. It just happened that fast. All right. Some people have a knack for that. They really do. Some people just really have it. They see it, they recognize it. I know a guy who could look at items and then have the buyer ahead of time. Like he knows who he could sell it to. And then he knows that the price that they may be willing to pay for it. And so if he can get it at that cheap price, man, he can know he can turn and burn on it. That is pretty cool. Like that's a network of people that you have developed because of that skill that you have, right? Like I don't have that kind of network that I can just sell an item to, or I know a buyer of a particular item. Like that to me is odd to have that sort of thing. Like, oh man, that generator, I know who would want that. You do? We're like, who? It was like, no, he would give me this much for it right now. I know he would. And it was weird. All right, that's cool. Like I that's neat that you know people like that. Like to me, I would have to go find that guy, you know. All right, it's over $100 a ton in my area. Oh my gosh. All right, you guys have fun with this live stream. We have 191 people watching with 71 likes. Thank you so much for hitting that like button. Thank you, All Nighter, for suggesting the highlight. I need to really focus in on the comments, so when I see that highlighted suggestion come up, I'm going to go ahead and make that highlighted video up for everybody to go see again. So hopefully that'll be out there and we can go back and listen to what it is that All Nighter suggested that I do for a highlight. That's a new feature here that I just realized was on the live stream, that I can hit that highlight button and it'll take like the previous 5 minutes and make a video out of it. So we'll go and share that one. Thank you everybody for being here. Again, 191 people who are watching, 72 likes. Take a second, go over, hit that thumbs up button. By hitting the thumbs up button, you'll get the YouTube algorithm. Grab this video, spread it around for more people to enjoy. We're building a community here at the UE University. There's a link down in the description to the school. You're going to find all the information that you would need to understand the 4 economic theories and the credible threat theory. They are there for you, 7-day trial for free. Don't even need to pay for it. You can just sign up, take the information for what it is that you just think is worth, and stick with the community or bail out. It's up to you, but it's all there at the UE University. The link is down in the description. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.